she'll tell me like, "Holy, I'm tired," and I'm like, "And I think no, I have like the slightest allergies today." What is this? Just like UTSA in general.
That's my way of knowing everybody's here, because there's always 11 if everyone's here. So, first of all, I have maps for tomorrow.
Oh, what time are we?
Okay.
Apparently I was wrong.
You need to be there. They will, because they're done with patients at 5, so you need to arrive before 5. Okay, not arrive at 5, but arrive before 5.
Oh, it's enough.
I would say like 10
I was
off.
confused.
You're going to go into the building and go up to, you're going to want to write this on the thing, so I will hold my thoughts until I...
How long is this for?
An hour.
Okay. Is the concert tomorrow? Can we leave early?
There's the orchestra concert at 7:30, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the map is not the greatest, I'm sorry. I tried to get it to print, but it didn't print so well. So the way I always go from here is I go I-10, exit for Huebner, okay, and then I turn right on Huebner like I'm going towards the medical center, and then left on Floyd Curl, and you'll go through Hamilton Wolf, and you go over a hill and down, and there's that big open area where there's the running path that kind of goes around. And then the building over on the left-hand side, tall tan building, that's the Mark building. Okay, you're going to go in and go to the 6th floor. Count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to the ENT clinic, okay, or it'll say otolaryngology. Okay, so 6th floor. The thing to do, you park in the parking garage behind the building, and I suggest you guys carpool because then you all get lost together. But anyway, no, so park in the garage and you come into the building and you don't take, if you go into the building from the parking garage, you don't go to those elevators that are right there. You have to walk kind of through, kind of straight across the building to the other side of the building, and then there's the elevators that actually go up. Because the ones that are over by the parking garage only go to those floors where the parking garage is. You want to go to the other side. And if you just walk in and say, I'm looking for the elevators to go up into the building, someone will tell you. There's a security person around there pretty close by. And you go on in and go on up to the 6th floor. You'll come out of the elevators, and there's like kind of a long hallway, and just walk down that way. I'll be there looking for you guys. There's the eye clinic and then the ENT clinic, and we're going to the ENT clinic. You can go to the eye clinic, but I wouldn't be there. Okay, so, and my cell phone number is on here. I will have it. I do not text. I'm sorry. I'm a dinosaur because I have one of these. Okay? And I have texting disabled because I don't want to pay for it. And so anyway, yes, I have one of those kind of phones.
Does anyone know they want a carpool?
So, yeah, just I will be leaving from, well, I'm not sure where I will be at that point, but I might be able to take a couple people. I don't know where I'm going to be exactly. I think I'll be coming from campus but anyway. Yeah.
Is the parking garage free?
No, it is
It's
not.
carpool.
Huh?
12? It's like 12.
No.
I was
no,
like,
no.
When I parked up before, it's really cheap.
No, it's paid by the time. The parking garage behind the Mark building is like
I must have got another
$1, like $1.50 an hour or something like that, you know. So, and the attendant usually leaves at like a little bit after 6, but they will come by and they will put an envelope on your car, and you just put the money in and go. If the attendant's not there, because they will find you. Okay, you guys owe me some homework.
I wrote it down for the wrong date. I thought it was not due until Wednesday.
Yeah.
Can I email it to you tonight?
We'll get some points taken off, but I'll take a look at it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm really proud of my drawing because
Your son's really good, mine is pretty good.
At first I was like, this is pretty good, and then I realized that if I
Ooh, look at these
maybe
drawings,
longer than
artwork.
10 seconds, I spend doing it, it's doing exactly like that, so I'm not very
All right.
You know what I'm doing is, mine's more exciting.
Okay, next item is, oh, you still lost one, okay, it's got your name on it, we're good. The next item is that I return papers to you. So first of all, observations. Thank you all. Let's see. Here's your observation. And
Oh, yeah, I should.
Austin.
Been getting my spinach, but,
I think vitamin D helps you absorb iron, right? So you might need more vitamin one more time.
Think of that.
Okay.
I know, because
yeah.
so I know what you miss out on.
Here you go.
Yeah, are you, can I drive with you? You wanna drive? I don't wanna drive you, but I feel like you wanna drive.
Put that in my.
Okay, I don't wanna miss that.
Yeah. Okay, and I have the tests. Okay, so the grades were pretty good. Nobody bombed. We had, you know, a range from like low to mid 70s up to around 90, so that's not all bad. And what I really tried to do is write a lot of comments, and I made sure to not use a red pen too, which is something, you know, there's nothing worse than you get a paper back and this red all over, so I didn't use red. But I tried to write comments to kind of help clarify things that you might have had a little scramble around or something, because I know it's a lot of terms. Or just, can you include this when you think about this and those kind of things. So, folks did all right. So let's hand them out. If you have a question about something, just because we have so much to cover, I'd rather maybe not take up too much class time, but maybe just either see me afterwards or just make an appointment to see me so that I can help clear something up that might be a concern, okay? It's really important, I mean, your tests are really not that big a part of your grade in this class. Getting those observations done is a huge, huge part of, you know, that's a third of your grade. So be sure you're getting the observations done, all right? This one stays with me. Okay. So, next. Yes, okay. Good, let's move on to that. In general, people did good job, pretty well on the essays. The part that messed most people up who lost points was where it was like diaphragm. What does it do? When is it active? What is its antagonist? And that blasted elastic recoil thing. That's where people tended to get tripped up. The rest of the test you guys did, you know, pretty well on. So, yay. All right, I have our friend Big Larry. Dun, dun, dun. So, let's name Big Larry's parts real quickly because we're going to be looking at larynges in action, and we're going to be kind of talking through the anatomy. But so, if I point, you're going to say what it is. Cartilage. Somebody said it. Cricoid cartilage. Okay, it's the one that's narrow in the front and bigger in the back. Okay, like a signet ring, whatever a signet ring is. And then this is the Also, there's a gland that sits right here that has the same name. Sounds like? Yeah, okay. It's pedagogy charades. God, that'd be a good one. That would be a lot of fun. Okay, and then this is the hyoid bone, and then this thing, epiglottis. Now, does it all look like this?
What? Not that color.
Does it look like this?
No, it's
Is
not.
it all this clear and
No,
stuff?
there's muscles and stuff covering.
There's all sorts of stuff, yeah. It doesn't look nearly so easily defined. However, these are the big structures, okay? Then we have some muscles. The muscle, cricothyroid muscle.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, it originates on the cricoid, it inserts on the thyroid, so it's going to reduce the space between them. So when that muscle contracts, your voice goes up. Okay? Yeah. Wasn't that good? Yeah. I do that actually without meaning to sometimes. So tomorrow, you will see my lovely vocal folds and all their glory and all their little idiosyncrasies. But I'm going to pass Big Larry around, okay? I was not there when we thought it, but when I worked for UTSA at the National Center for Voice and Speech, the Omaha Zoo had given us a Siberian tiger's larynx, because they called us and they said, this tiger just died, do you guys want the larynx? And it was like, absolutely. And so they froze it and they gave it to us. And I mean, I saw it all wrapped up, and I mean, it was like half as big as my head, okay? And they slowly thawed it out, and they put it on a pipe and blew air through it to watch the. And what's really cool about the big cats is their true vocal folds vibrate and make sound, as well as their false vocal folds. Now, in humans, that normally isn't the case unless you're Louis Armstrong. That's the sound it makes when your false vocal folds, are engaged. But they put this tiger larynx on the bench and they started blowing air through, and everybody in there immediately got creeped out. I've talked to my friends because, I mean, it starts making these rumbles, and it's like you're looking for a tree to climb really fast. Anyway, but yeah, so a tiger's larynx is like that, and I mean, Big Larry, probably a small elephant, honestly, would have a larynx about that big.
Wow.
Yeah. So many times natural size.
The size of the vocal folds don't determine volume.
No, not at all.
They differ, yeah.
They're more related to pitch. The length of the vocal fold is.
So the volume of that lion wouldn't come from those giant folds.
The volume can be the size of the larynx, correct?
No, the volume, the sound, the intensity of the sound is more about the power transfer from the respiratory system and resonance stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, my wife is 5'3" and can be heard over a 100-piece orchestra.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And several of you guys are the same way, okay? So power comes from other things than size. While Big Larry's going around, everyone take your hands, okay? So now, your hands are the arytenoid cartilages, okay? And when your arytenoid cartilages come together and your vocal folds come together, what is that called? Adduction, okay? Think, adding, okay? So adduction is adding them together, 1 plus 1, okay? So that's adduction, and then separating them is called right. So think about somebody who's been kidnapped, right? From their family, they've been abducted, they've been taken away, separated from those they love, okay? So adduction, abduction. Now let's talk about the muscles that do this, because that is the way the word looks, right? Muscles, right? So the muscles that do that. So what are the muscles that bring your vocal folds, that bring the arytenoid cartilages together?
Starts with a CR.
Cricoid,
Are.
Yeah, which ones?
The oblique and transverse?
That's in the
Oh,
back. That's
posterior?
interarytenoids. Okay, so the lateral
Back.
cricoarytenoids are the ones that bring your vocal folds together. Okay, the lateral cricoarytenoids do that. Okay, the interarytenoids, that's the oblique and transverse that you were talking about, close the gap in the back, the chink. And then the posterior cricoarytenoids are the ones that separate. Okay, how will I ever get this? Because we're going to say it over and over. I promise you. So repeat after me. Okay. Arytenoid cartilages.
Arytenoid cartilages.
Adduction.
Adduction.
Abduction.
Abduction.
Okay. The lateral cricoarytenoid muscles.
Lateral cricoarytenoid muscles.
Okay. Bring your arytenoid cartilages together like that, the vocal processes, so your vocal folds are up here. So the lateral cricoarytenoid muscles, or the LCA if you want to abbreviate, do that. Then the interarytenoid muscles, bring the back part of those cartilages together. So now we have a pretty good seal.
Is this anterior, posterior, the way we have our
Yeah,
hands?
so your hands are posterior, so your vocal folds, the fingertips are anterior, okay? And then when you breathe in, abduction, right? And that's the posterior. Because if these little muscles, the laterals go here, the posteriors are here, and the inter ones are here. And so these cartilages can swivel all around, okay? And so if you've got a muscle here that kind of pulls that way, it brings those vocal processes together and brings your vocal folds together. But there's still that little gap in the back, and that's the interarytenoid. Okay? So we'll go over it and over it and over it. Fear not. Let's talk through some of these parts. And the really cool thing is, when we go to a week from Tuesday, when we go to the anatomy lab, you can put on gloves. I know you're thinking like, this is really gross, but I'm telling you, you will be fascinated. The vast majority of you will be. I mean, some people are always kind of like, okay, I'm here, and I'm doing this, and I can't believe that's somebody's body. But you will, almost all of you, it's been my experience, get over that really quick because you're so curious, and you can put on gloves, and you can put your finger in there, and you can touch, okay, how big is that trachea? Oh my gosh, oh, it's like the size of my pinky, you know? And how big are those arytenoid cartilages? They're like, almost like little rocks, the little grains of sand, you know? They're tiny. How long are the vocal folds? You can see them, they're like this big, you know? It really makes you just in awe. Okay, so here's our friends that we've already seen on Big Larry. Big Larry's making his way around. By the way, if you want to buy one of those, about $450.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
We had to replace the epiglottis, and it was like $30 just to replace the epiglottis.
Wow.
So, all right, so trachea, cricoid cartilage, the thyroid cartilage, obviously the muscles have been moved away. You can see the epiglottis up there, and the hyoid bone, okay? So, important parts. So this is that big, more firm framework, okay? Hyoid bone, and that's up at the top, and your epiglottis, which is the flapper, right? That goes over your windpipe. I mean, that's literally, it's a flapper. It's just a little flapper valve. So, I mean, being a homeowner, you learn these things, you know, like how to fix a toilet. And take the lid off the toilet and look at the flapper valve. I mean, honest to goodness, that's about what your epiglottis does. It folds over and closes off when you swallow. Then the thyroid cartilage, which we can put our hands on, and the cricoid, which if you know where to find it, you can get your hand on. And then the arytenoids, you can't put your hand on. You don't want to put your hand on, because that's way inside. So your hyoid bone, it's attached to no other bones. There's only one other bone like that in your body, and McCoy mentions it. The patella on your, right on the front of your knee. Okay, so it's free, you know, one of those free-floating bones. It's got ligament attachments and things like that to stuff and muscles, but not, it's not like got a bone-to-bone joint. So your muscles of your tongue and your jaw, then a lot of them have anchoring to your hyoid, and you'll see hyoid in their name, like mylohyoid, geniohyoid, okay? So you've got muscles from above and behind, and you've got muscles from below. These are all muscles that are going to be lowering your larynx, okay? Because your larynx is attached to your hyoid bone. Pull the hyoid bone down, your larynx goes with it. Kind of cool. So your hyoid bone is a really important kind of a landmark. And again, just a reminder, you know, I have the PowerPoints on Blackboard, and I love you guys taking notes and so on. You can use the PowerPoints as study guides. They're really there for that. So our retinoid cartilages, now it's time to take your hands again, okay? So they can move medially when we adduct, right? So they can move towards that midline. They can move laterally towards the side when you abduct, okay? They can move this way, because when your vocal folds shorten and you're singing a low pitch versus you're singing a long pitch, I mean a high pitch, sorry. Okay, so they can move front to back, they can swivel this way, okay? They can do all sorts of stuff. They can side to side, front to back, and then pivot. That's a really cool joint that they have there with your cricoid cartilage. And I tried to do a little artwork there. So, knowing your retinoid cartilages, we've got Big Larry over here. They're sort of triangular. They're actually sort of like a tetrahedron, okay? So if you can imagine, it's got, you know, a peak up here, so each side is a triangle. So your vocal folds are going that way, and they're attached here, okay? And the posterior cricoretinoid muscle is the one that's going to pivot them that way, and it separates your vocal folds. That lateral one, when it contracts, pivots them that way, and it brings your vocal folds together. And then when your cricothyroid muscle contracts, it's going to actually, it's going to go that way. It'll be stretching things long ways. So your retinoid cartilages are capable of a lot of movement, and these muscles, which are tiny, 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 tiny micro muscles. You've got smaller muscles. I mean, the muscles that are inside our ear that are kind of there to prevent you from going deaf when you get exposed to a really loud sound. There's some little micro muscles that will sort of somewhat disengage the little, the anvil and the stirrup and the, whatever the other one is, hammer. You know, those little muscles that you've got the bones there in your ear. They're the smallest bones in your body, between your eardrum and your inner ear. And there's some little muscles in there that are smaller than this. But these are pretty tiny muscles. Pretty tiny muscles. Okay, so this is a real important distinction. Intrinsic muscles are the ones inside your larynx or relate the parts of your larynx to each other. Okay? And so they're going to, you know, rock cartilages one to the other or rotate things or that kind of stuff. They're not going to move the larynx as a whole. The extrinsic ones are at least one attachment of that muscle is somewhere other than the larynx. So they move the larynx as a whole, up and down. So when you swallow, everybody swallow. Okay, those are extrinsic muscles. Now everybody go, Okay, you're abducting and adducting and abducting and adducting. Those are intrinsic muscles. So intrinsic inside to the larynx, okay? It's like, this is your family, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, and this is the people that you work with, or the people you go to school with, okay? So they're not in the family, so to speak. That was an odd analogy, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, the duct dynasty, sorry. The show was really popular when I put this together. So adduct is to bring together, right? 1 + 1. Okay, and then abduct is to separate, okay? And we've got lots of muscles that are involved, well, several, that are involved in the adducting, but only one, that posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, is an abductor. And that's why when people suffer, nerve damage, making sure that that posterior cricoarytenoid muscle can either function or we can do something, because that's life-threatening, because the person needs to be able to separate their vocal folds to breathe. We don't want to have problems there. Okay, intrinsic muscles, here they are. Okay, the thyroarytenoid muscles, so that's the one that makes up the bulk of your vocal fold, and we're going to look at them here in just a couple of minutes. So think about, Austin, you've got a short sleeve shirt on. Would you come up, please? Plus he has guns. He has guns. All right, so would you pull the sleeve up, please? Okay, so now, would you tense your bicep? Tense your bicep up. Okay, yeah, why don't you give us a side view? Okay, all right, so give us a good flex here. Yeah, yeah. Now you notice when he does that it not only the muscle shortens, but it kind of plumps out, it bulks up, okay? So when your TA muscle engages, if I want to sing loud and low, all right, my vocal fold is short and really bulked up like that, okay? It also helps, because it bulks up the vocal fold, it actually kind of helps bring the lower part of your vocal folds together. That's why the TA activity goes up when we start to sing louder. Even if you're singing quite high, you will ramp up your TA activity a bit in order to sing loud, okay? Because it's going to help your vocal folds close a little more completely. Thank you. Yes. Okay, now the cricothyroids, on the other hand, Catherine, would you come up, please? Okay.
Am I gonna show my arm muscle?
No. You're gonna hold my hand. Take my hand. So you're gonna be the cricothyroid. Pull on my hand. All right. So she's stretching. This is like the vocal fold, which is the TA muscle and stuff. So yeah, she's doing a good job. Okay. So that cricothyroid muscle, when it contracts, it's stretching, lengthening my vocal fold. Now the TA wants to do that. Okay, and go ahead and resist me. Okay, so a lot of times we're doing this balancing act when we're changing pitch, right? Which one is the more dominant muscle? Okay, lovely. Thank you. Okay, and then the shorthand is TA, and then the shorthand for this one is CT. It's a whole lot easier than saying thyroarytenoid. Okay, so the TA shortens and tenses the vocal fold. The CT stretches it out, thins it out. Remember the rubber band, when we stretched the rubber band, how it thinned out? Yeah. All right, now this is that posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, and it's the one that if I'm adducted, it's the one that pivots those arytenoid cartilages that way and separates my vocal folds. Okay, so that's their big job so when we do staccato exercises, we're training these three muscles. We're training these muscles' coordination. Staccato exercises and balanced exercises are great exercises for singers because they're training that coordination rather than brute force. They're training that micro-muscle coordination. So these are important muscles to have really good coordination with. The lateral and the interarytenoid muscles. Those are the ones that bring your vocal folds together, bring those arytenoid cartilages together. Okay? Extrinsic muscles. 3 big ones to remember over here. We call them depressors, not because they're sad, but because they lower your larynx, okay? Sterno Hyoid, if you remember from our first unit, if we're talking about a muscle that's named like that, it's going to pull towards the point of origin. So it originates on your sternum and it inserts on your hyoid, so that means it's going to, when it contracts, it's going to pull towards your sternum, okay? Sterno Hyoid and Sterno Thyroid, so this one starts on your sternum and attaches to the hyoid bone. Sternothyroid starts on your sternum, attaches to the thyroid cartilage. And then omohyoid is actually from your shoulder blades and kind of goes through a little loop, and then it goes up to your hyoid bone. So all 3 of those, when they're engaged, lower your larynx, like that. That's a maneuver that guys in particular learn. And then tracheal pull. If you remember back from talking about breathing, right? So your diaphragm, and then there's your lungs and stuff like that. So if your diaphragm contracts, then your lungs are getting pulled downward. Well, then what's attached to your lungs? Well, your trachea. And so then your larynx is attached to your trachea. So if you breathe in deep and low, that good low singer's breath, it tends to lower your larynx slightly. Another reason to have that good low breath, right? You get 2 for the price of 1. You get air in, and things stay free here, and your larynx isn't, you know, riding out your mouth. Okay, the elevators, all the rest. I ask that you be able to recognize that they're an elevator, but I will not ask you name all those 14 muscles of your tongue and stuff like that. I mean, be able to recognize them, mylohyoid, geniohyoid, okay, so on. Be able to recognize them that, oh, those are not the depressors. Because if you can do that, you got it made, because these are the 3 that lower your larynx. All the rest, in some form or fashion, tend to want to raise your larynx. So if you just memorize these 3, you're golden, okay? Because then if you see one of those other ones and you know, okay, that's an extrinsic muscle, but it's not one of those 3, so it must be an elevator. 4th floor, good enough. This is another term you may see. Infra, meaning below the hyoid, and suprahyoid. You'll also see like subglottal and supraglottal sometimes, okay? Just more terms, but they're talking about below and above. And elevators and depressors. Let's see. Oh, and here they all are. Okay, so the ones that are above your hyoid, in general, these are all elevators, okay? Digastric, stylohyoid, mylohyoid, geniohyoid. McCoy goes through every single one of them, and I don't know if you've noticed, but if you go to the back of the chapter, he's got a table, and he's got every single muscle that's been mentioned in the chapter. What does it do? Where is it located? Thanks, Scott. I love that. The main thing to remember about those is that when those muscles are active in an unbalanced way, you're going to get tongue tension, you're probably going to get throat constriction, and you're probably going to get elevation of your larynx that's not terribly desirable. Okay, the ones that are below your hyoid bone, there's those 3 depressors. And then this one's an interesting one because it may be involved in slightly dilating our pharynx. Okay. So phonation. This is not. It is not that. It is, it's making a sound. Okay? We can do all sorts of different sounds. Talking is phonation. You know. Whistling doesn't count. your vocal folds do move a little bit when we whistle, but they're not generating sound. It's more of a airstream thing. So it's making voiced sound. So, whoo, ah, oh my. Those are all examples of phonation. And so as a singer, our job then is to get the best balance between those respiratory muscles and things inside the larynx so that we get optimum freedom and the best vibration going on. This is getting a little bit ahead of the game, so let's look at some videos. We'll come back to this. Here are some videos. Let's see. All right, so we want to look at number 3. Waking up. There it is. Okay, here is a male larynx. 3. Okay, so this is with a strobe light, so we can see it kind of slow-mo there. All right, so here's his vocal folds, which is made up of that TA muscle. Here's his false folds on the side. Here's his epiglottis at the bottom. His retinoid cartilages are in there. His esophagus is right back in here. These little pockets, okay, piriform sinuses, that's when you get milk and stuff and ice cream, and it sounds kind of gurgly, that's where it is. Okay? You can see there's just a little bit of a gap there in the back. That's not terribly unusual.
Mid-range.
And that's natural mucus, it's okay.
Same note on more of an E.
You might be able to notice that there's a little bit of that rippling action going on, okay? So that's a male. Let's look at a female. Notice not a ton of difference. It's color, but it's not, this is just, it's not that her larynx looks that drastically different. It's just the camera. It's just a function of the camera and the light source. This light source probably had a little more blue in it than the other one. The other one might have been a little more yellowish. But again, you can see the retinoid cartilages maybe a little stronger here. And again, false vocal folds and then the true vocal folds there.
Why do we call them false?
Because they're not involved in vibration unless we're trying to sound like Louis Armstrong.
But a lot of parts of the larynx aren't involved in phonation, so why do we call that specific? Are they made of the same?
Well, you've got, I mean, this is like the airy epiglottic muscle, and this is the thyroid retinoid muscle. Where they got that term false, I guess, comes from the fact that they don't vibrate like the true ones do. I guess that's, I've never asked that question. We could ask Dr. Simpson tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's actually, but my guess would be it's because they don't vibrate and generate the sound like the others do. Here, this is high resolution, slow motion. Okay, so we're pretty close. You can notice there are capillaries, there are little blood vessels. Okay, well this is a muscle. This is muscle and stuff. Muscles want nourishment. So it's actually natural that there's going to be blood vessels there. Now this is super slow-mo, so instead of it being the strobe camera where we're seeing, you know, apparent motion, this is the actual vibratory motion, and I will just cue this up. I'll probably pause it. What you'll notice is you'll see the retinoid cartilages start to move together, and then the vocal folds will start to oscillate before they actually ever come completely together, because the airstream starts going and they get, due to that Bernoulli force, they get going. Okay. So you'll see them move together, and then watch right here, it's going to start to oscillate. Whoop, whoop. And we're off.
Oh.
So, I know, it's kind So again, take your hands and do that, right? They meet at the bottom, and then that vibratory wave actually ripples along the surface, okay? Remember where we did the thing where you take your hand and like the skin of your hand, how it's loose, and yet it's also padded? So it's padded, and yet that surface can ripple like that.
So is that the epithelium?
Yeah, that's the, well, and the lamina propria, yeah, which is that below the epithelium. Yep, all right, let me just finish on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's a pretty low frequency sound is my guess. I need
What's
to,
moving below?
huh?
There's a little like jiggle below.
Let's see. Get it to play again.
What is down there at the
I
bottom?
think it's just resonating.
Yeah, well,
The
that's
sound.
mucus, and there's air flowing through there, and it's moving in time with slightly behind the opening, and so that mucus is just getting set into motion. Yeah, that's just mucus down there. I mean, it looks kind of like, ugh, but honestly, that mucus is like the oil in your car, you know? You need that mucus. That mucus, when it's, I mean, there's times, of course, we have more mucus than we would like, but that mucus is there, it's lubricating, and it's, you know, because there is friction from your vocal folds contacting each other and so on, and you want to minimize that friction, because friction makes things heat up, and friction is what causes problems, you know. If I were to do this for 30 minutes, my hands would be all red, and, you know, I'd probably get a blister. I don't want to do that. Yes, ma'am?
If, okay, so my question is, when I haven't had enough sleep, it's difficult to sing, so
Right.
what would these chords look like, tired, and how would that affect?
We'll get to some of that when we're doing health. Lack of sleep does a lot of things. More than anything, lack of sleep, believe me, I can speak from experience. I'm on medication right now for sleep. Lack of sleep, more than anything, is going to cause problems with muscle coordination, fine muscle coordination. Another thing that typically happens when we're not sleeping well is we do get kind of dry and dehydrated.
Okay. But I've heard that it swells the chords. Is that just kind of a figure of speech, like breathe with your diaphragm, or do the chords actually?
It might be a result of all
Well,
of them.
Your folds actually swell for a couple reasons. Laryngitis, with your menstrual cycle.
Oh no.
Yeah, because cell wall permeability changes as a result of the hormones, and so you literally, you do get more water molecules binding, just like you feel in the rest of your body.
Is it like not safe to sing then, or it's just not
Well,
as pretty of a sound?
I would
or-
say it depends on the person. Some people, it's better that they take a day or two off. Some people generally can manage pretty well.
Well,
you know?
that's why you learn techniques. so you
Yeah,
can sing
well,
for days like
that's
that.
true. You know, over in Europe, opera houses have what they call days of respect for women, so that you don't, you're not
Nice.
required to perform by your contract. You know, some people it's not a big deal, you know? It just depends on the person.
But inflammation in the chords is how dangerous when focused?
Well, inflammation of the vocal fold tissue itself, that's a time when you're not wanting to be doing a lot of singing or talking. And so fatigue, you can get an inflammatory response. Viral and bacterial infection, you can get an inflammatory response. You do get more water binding when, you know, with your menstrual cycle.
Okay.
So, all things to think about. These look really healthy. You know, the fact that they're supple like that and
Yeah.
moving so symmetrically, okay? Symmetry is a big thing. Symmetry is a good thing because asymmetrical vibration gives us a rough sound. Symmetrical vibration, you're going to get a nice sound without, you know, noise elements to it. But that suppleness of the cover, that's something that laryngologists are looking for, or a speech pathologist. They're looking to see, do things move symmetrically? Is there a good mucosal wave over the entire surface, or is there a stiff spot? If they see a stiff spot, they're, we want to watch that, you know, because if you've got an injury, very often you'll see a stiffening and the wave is not smooth. Okay, one more to show really quickly, because we need to. Okay. This, let's see, is this the male? Okay, this is the female. Okay, so she's doing nice, light little staccati. And while I pause here, I want you to watch in here and here how things are open, okay? And the distance between the epiglottis and so on, it's all nice and open. And then she's going to start doing glottals, hard glottals. Okay, now here comes the hard glottals. Notice her false vocal folds start squeezing in, okay? And you'll also notice that there's kind of a compression from anterior to posterior, okay? So we'll see that as well. So, please don't do hard glottals, okay? Please don't do that. Okay, now saying, uh-oh, is, you know, or ask me again, that's not a big deal. And if I'm singing in German, you know, ein, zwei, ein, that's not a big deal. But, you know, intentionally doing the hard glottals and things like that, that's something, if you want to go spend time in a voice clinic, do lots of hard glottals, because they have lots of room for you. There will be, you will be seeing a speech pathologist. That is one of the things they really listen for, because they're sitting there interviewing you. Okay, tell me about what your problems are, and they're listening. What does the person do to words that start with vowels? They start hearing lots of glottals. They're just making some quite okay, lots of glottals on vowels and words. You know, I mean, they're listening for those habits of why are you here? Why are you suffering a problem? So that's what glottals look like and sound like. It hurts me to watch it. Yeah, okay? And that's not good for the tissue. All right, we have 3 minutes. So let's see how many more slides. Oh, only 3 more. Okay. So, what's going to determine how our vocal folds resist that airstream? Well, how adducted we are, how thick and stiff our vocal folds are. So that's like what's going on with your TA, the bulk or upper, and your CT, the structure, okay? And then this, the viscosity of that outer layer of your vocal folds, and that goes into hydration. So as a singer, the best thing you can do for your voice first thing in the morning, other than take a nice big steamy shower and breathe all that stuff in, you can get a little direct irrigation that way. Start drinking water, okay? Start drinking, I drink like soy milk or cashew milk because I get potassium and sodium and magnesium from those. Things like that, okay? Get yourself hydrated, okay? Because it takes a while for that hydration to make its way all the way through your system into your vocal tissue. We're talking hours, you know? 90 minutes probably at the very least to start making a difference. But that's important because the more supple that outer layer of your vocal folds is, the less breath pressure you're going to need to initiate sound. And that's a big deal. We don't want to have that effort level going up. Okay, these are just some things. We'll pick it up on that slide to finish this stuff out. So please get going on reading the next units, 5A, I think. Because we're going to start talking about resonator anatomy and physiology. Okay? Good stuff today, y'all. And see you guys tomorrow, sure.
So Austin and I are talking.
I didn't realize it was until I did that. But there's like to do it.
And by that I mean none of you were in
I was like, why didn't I come back? And then I was in my winter and well, yeah. so I think that was the day that I got here a little late, so. Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you're watching.
I don't know what's going on with my life right now. And my mom's still here, so. Please.
Yes.
Well, I would be reading
I feel like a nerd when that girl goes to pee like 50 minutes away.
dissections and
Yeah.
autopsies.
It happens.
So hydrated.
Well, there are video, I mean, there's anatomy stuff, if you look for like dissection images and stuff, you can get on the internet, there's tons of it,
Yeah.
you know. Just like laryngeal anatomy dissection, you can find all sorts of images.
So if I miss it this time, maybe next year.
Yeah,
you
next
guys
year.
go?
Yeah,
I'll just
absolutely.
Tag along.
No, in fact, people have done that. I put out the invitation to all students present and previous who wanna come.
Yeah, I really wanna go, it's just, my doctor's starting to tell
No.
me to like, put stuff on seats,
Mhm.
just in case, and
Well,
I'm
no,
progressing faster, so.
absolutely, and I'm more concerned, especially the formalin,
Yeah,
because there are gallons and gallons of
yeah,
it.
yeah, I mean, it's a pretty sterile environment, but at the same time, the chemicals to keep it so.
Yes,
Are what
and
we're-
it's well ventilated, but all the same,
I'll smell everything.
well, with a nearly due baby, that's just not worth the risk.
Okay, so I just wanted to let you know about
Okay.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
for sure. They're real hesitant to give me time off, seeing as I have maternity leave coming up.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will see you Wednesday.
Okay,